Hello my friends, today I'm sharing with you a bit of a mega video and sharing 12 different DIY Christmas high-end looks on the budget. These are inspirations that came from stores and I recreated them at a more affordable price. I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and a notification bell, and make sure you hit the like button as well. And I also want to take the time to wish you all a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. I hope that the new year brings you lots of health, joy, and happiness. So until next time, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all maybe just before the end of the year. Thanks for watching. Other supplies that I had purchased. Some of the supplies I already had on hand. So this set of blue and silver ornaments came from Dollarama. They were $4 for the whole set. I will be only using the silver ones. I really wanted ones that had a bit of like dimension to them. And then I also picked up 2 sets of these, so 4 altogether. These are from Dollarama as well. Dollar Tree carries them as well. They're a little bit bigger. And then some other ornaments that I had picked had on hand were the flat ones that Dollar Tree sells. I got mine at Michael's last year on clearance. I think the whole box of them was like $7, but you can get them for $1.50 at Dollar Tree. So I'm starting off with the silver ornaments. I am outside. And I just filled this bottle with some water, and I'm spraying it well with water, and you want those driplets to be on there. And then immediately after, I'm going to take my spray paint. I am using dark walnut. You can use black. I thought I was using black, but it was dark walnut, and it turned out well. I don't mind the way they turned out at all. It did give me the look that I was going for. And then you let them dry, and that's it for the ornament. So you just want to give yourself some space from spray painting so you don't spray too heavy. And then I repeated the same project, same step with the rest of the silver ornaments. I also spray painted the tops of these ornaments with the same walnut color. I love how antique they turned out. It just elevated that silver look that they were. And I love how the little droplets show up on it. And I put some on my tree with some fancy ribbon, and then I just added some to my bowl of ornaments. Next, still working outside, I took the tops of the clear ornaments and I spray painted them with this antique bronze color. This spray paint came from your dollar store and more. Sometimes they have like odd looking colors, not your primary colors, and they are significantly cheaper there. I think I picked this up for $4, and I've used this several times already. I'm just using very little just for these caps here. You can do this with paint, just regular paint. You don't have to do this at all. You can just leave them silver. Black looks good as well. Some people have luck with rub and buff. I don't, but I don't actually have rub and buff. I have the antiquing wax, so maybe that's the difference. And now I'm back with this dark walnut satin color, and I'm spray painting 2 of these with that spray paint. As you can see, I struggled a little bit, so I put them in this container so they would not flip. So probably a good piece of styrofoam would work better. I cannot stand the sound of styrofoam, so that did not work for me. So I gave this a solid coat. You don't want to spray too long on one area because it'll drip. So we are now back inside, and once they were completely dry, I took out my crafting sponge, dabbed on a little bit of gold, and then I dabbed some of it off, and then I just sponged the whole ornament with that. I am using spun gold. You can use any gold you have on hand. So once it was completely covered, well, to the way I wanted it to, I took another sponge, crafting sponge, and this metallic brown color, and it's almost again like that bronzish color. And I proceeded to do the same exact process as with the gold. And once I covered the whole area again, I let that dry, and then I did the exact same thing for the other ornament. I think these turned out absolutely stunning. I just love the way they look. And again, I added the ribbon to hang them on a tree. For my next clear ornaments, I have had this tissue on hand. It is just white tissue paper. You can use any color you want. I really did want just white. And I'm going to tear it up, and we're going back to basics of crafting, and we're going to do some paper macheing. And if my memory serves me right, I hope I mixed up my paper mache mixture right. I just added some water into the flour. Once I had my tissue ready and my solution ready, I went ahead and started paper macheing. And if you've never done this before, you just cover either an area or the whole thing, and then you add your paper, and then you put more paper mache solution on top of it, and then you want to let it completely dry before adding more to it. And depending on what kind of a coverage you want, you can do two steps, or you can do more steps. I only did 2, and I am so pleased with the end result. For next 2 DIYs, I'm going to be using the flat ornaments. I call them flat. You will see them in just a second. And for the first 2, I'm going to use this Annie Sloan Old Ochre chalk paint. You don't need to use chalk paint. This was the only beige looking paint I had. I was going to use acrylic, but I did not have any beige color, so the chalk paint to the rescue. And then I'm also going to use ice cappuccino as well as brush gold acrylic paint, and you will need some of those crafting brushes again that we just used in the previous DIY. And for the caps, I will be just painting them with some gold color at the end. So the first step is to take the beige color and paint the whole ornament with that beige color. So once the ornament is completely painted, you don't want to wait for it to dry before you move on to the next step. So the next step is going to be to take your sponge. Now you can wet these, I did not, and dab them into the ice cappuccino, and then dab some off and just dab it, sponge it on the ornament. And you want to blend as you're sponging on because your other paint is still wet. And then you're going to repeat the same process with the gold as well before anything dries, so that way you can blend all the colors well together. I wanted my ornament to be a little of a lighter color. If you want it darker, I would go a little bit heavier with the darker color. And then while it's still wet, you take your flour and you cover the whole ornament with flour, and you let that dry. And while that was drying, I went ahead and painted the same way my other ornament, and you will see how 2 of them turned out just slightly different. And that's the best part about making your own ornaments. Not one is the same. So once it was dry, I took a clean brush, a bigger one, and just brushed everything, all the flour off. I like using the bristle brush for this. I think it works the best. So here is how that looks at this point, and now I'm going to put the cap on it and paint the cap. And here they both are on the tree. I think they turned out so nice. I just love the really different texture that they are and the look that they have. So for the last ornament that I'm going to be making, I'm using the same clear ornament, and I'm painting it with that iced cappuccino, the whole thing with it. And again, before you move on to the next step, you're not gonna let the paint dry. So for the next step, I'm going to take baking soda and I'm going to sprinkle it on, covering the whole ornament, and then you're gonna let that ornament dry. So once it dried, I brushed the baking soda off the same way as I did the flour, and then taking the same colors that I used for the previous ornament and just sponging them on. However, I'm obviously sponging on the beige color and the gold color and just blending them together. This is just to show you how using the same colors, what a different look it can give you. Just a couple different switching out a couple different steps, and you get a completely different look, but still using the exact same colors, so that way you don't waste any colors that are left if you pour them into the bowl like I did. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed these DIYs. I absolutely love the way they all turned out, and they look amazing on my flock tree, which now consists of mostly DIY ornaments. If you guys do not know, I have a home channel where I share all my decorating that I do in my home, and the channel is linked down below for you to check out, and you can see how I showcase a lot of my DIYs that I make. So until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you all so much for watching. First DIY, we are starting off with some bells from Dollar Tree and a toilet plunge from Dollar Tree. I picked up 5 of these bells for $1.50. I'm located in Canada and we are at $1.50. And as you can see, they're a little bit different than the bells that I had made up before. These guys have a bit of a lip. And I'm going to be removing the greenery as well as the bows and berries off of them, so that way I just have a plain bell. And once everything was removed, I do take a cleaning wipe, almost like a degreaser, and give them a good cleaning, so that way I have no problem with paint going on them. And I'm going to be using metallic gold and satin black spray paints to make over these bells. I will be using the wood part of the plunger and then also some rope. Now the inspiration for this DIY is from Pottery Barn, and I was trying to recreate this look. Now I do know that the shape of the bells is a little bit different, but I think we can create a very similar look for around $10 instead of $283. So I went outside and gave the bells a coat of black paint, spray paint, and I just tried to spray it as evenly as possible without getting any drips. I wasn't going for 100% coverage. I just wanted to have a nice dark base. And then once I was done on one side, I flipped them and did the other side, and then I let them completely dry before I went in with my metallic gold paint. I picked up this paint at Michael's just because I was using my coupon. And I have to tell you guys, I absolutely love this color of gold. There's just something about it. It's so soft and nice looking. I was quite impressed. There's so many different variations of gold that I was worried, but I absolutely love that one. So here I'm just showing you that if you wanted to have that exact look, I have these little hangers from IKEA, and you could spray and paint them black, but then you would have to drill holes into the wall, or maybe if you already have these up, you could hang up the bells onto it. I am just going to use this piece of wood from the toilet plunger. I'm going to stain it with some paint and 2 different colors of paint. I just want to clean it up before the sticky part, so that way I can apply the paint evenly, and that way I can hang this up wherever I want. It's not restricted to putting screws into the wall. For the paint, I'm using a Dollar Tree black chalk paint, and I'm just going to dab a rag in it and rub it on. That way some of the wood grain that's on it will show through. I also want to mention that today's video is in collaboration with my dear friend Sandra from the Schwoman's Nest, or the DIYs at the Schwoman's Nest. I have known Sandra for a very, very long time off YouTube, and now we are obviously friends on YouTube as well. We used to be neighbors at one point, but now we live a couple streets over, and I love Sandra's channel. I think Sandra is one of the most creative people I know. Her DIYs are amazing. So if you have never seen Sandra's channel, make sure you head on over. I will have her channel linked down below for you to check out, and make sure you tell her that I have sent you over there. And if you're stopping by from Sandra's channel, welcome. My name is Sonja, like I said, and I'm glad that you're here. I hope you enjoy my DIYs, and make sure you let me know that you are stopping by from her channel. So once I was done with black chalk paint, I did go in again while it was still somewhat wet and applied some of the metallic gold acrylic paint, same way as I did the chalk paint, just rubbing it on and blending it in. This just made it look a little bit antique in my opinion. And make sure you paint the ends as well. So while I was painting that, my bells have dried completely, and now I'm going to be adding some ropes to them through the exact holes that the greenery was threaded through. Now on the picture, the rope is a little bit thicker, but that's okay. I'm just going to use what I have, and I love the look that it ends up turning out with that thinner rope. So all I'm gonna do is cut rope in 5 different lengths, so that way when I hang them up, they're all gonna hang in drop down in different lengths. I'm going to thread the rope through the hole, tie it, and then that knot that I tied it, I'm going to thread it back through the hole, so that way it's on the inside of the bell. And then then I'll have a loop, and at the bottom of the loop I'm going to take another piece of rope and just wrap it around, so that way it gives it that look that the bells have on this picture that you can see. I repeat the whole process on all the bells, and then I take my piece of wood and hang them all up. You want to play around to see how they fit the best, or what you like the best in staggering the lengths. I absolutely love the way this turned out. I think the paint is perfect on them, and I am so happy for just $10 what this cost me in materials. Couldn't be more pleased. For my next DIY, I picked these up at your dollar store and more, but I have seen similar ones at Dollar Tree as well. Now, this is the one that is kind of an not a Pottery Barn dupe, but it is a high-end dupe. I've seen these all over Etsy shops, and Indigo has them for $40. I think they might be on sale now. And they're charcuterie boards. Now, I wasn't going to use mine on a charcuterie board. I'm sure you could if you used a proper sealer that is food safe. You could, but I just wanted a little wood board in the shape of a gingerbread man to go against the Christmas charcuterie board I have in my kitchen on a display. I couldn't find one anywhere in the store except, like I said, Indigo had one, but I'm gonna drop a picture of it here so you can see what that looked like. And I did not love the gold buttons that it had. I think at the beginning of the season I did see one at Home as well, but I just didn't pick it up. So nevertheless, I proceeded on making one myself. So I removed all the buttons and the little bow ties, and I'm obviously going to remove the price tags. And like I said, I got this for $1.30, I think it was, at your dollar store and more, or with more. It's a dollar store it's almost like, I would say, comparable to Dollar General in US. And the reason why I picked up two is because I wanted it to be thicker. And so where I had removed all those buttons and bow tie, I am going to glue those two sides together using wood glue and hot glue gun. My wood glue is a little bit thick, so I am using a brush to spread it around, and the little lid was all clogged up anyways. And the hot glue is just there to keep it in place, to give the wood glue time to cure and set. And I'm using little clamps just to hold it together for a little bit. So I will be using the Verithain Special Walnut stain. It is a stain that I have on hand and I like. You can use any stain. You can even use watered down paint if you want. I think you're going to get a very similar look. I am not going to seal this again because, like I said, I'm not using it for anything other than just display. My stain was a little bit thick. I've had it now for almost a year and I haven't used it. So I did decide to put on some gloves. Probably should have put on both of my hands, but just so my fingers don't get too stained. And I really like this technique. I think it shows, even though this is like particle board, it's not really wood. It shows all the little wood grains that it has, and you just want to go in that direction. And I love how simple this project was. I love the way it turned out. It was exactly what I was looking for. And I think it's going to look great in my kitchen. And it cost me $2, $3 tops. And I did decide to stain both sides and then also the sides as well. What do you guys think? I think it looks perfect. For my next DIY, I picked up this snowflake at Dollarama for, I think it was $1.50. but I do know that, yes, I do know that Dollar Tree carries them, similar snowflakes as well. And I saw an inspiration at Kirkland's, and even though this wasn't overly expensive, I think we can do it for a lot cheaper. Everything else, all the materials that I used to complete this project, I had on hand. So really this only cost me $1.50 plus tax. So once I had that pesky tag taken off, I am going to leave the rope on just because I'm not sure whether I'm going to hang it up or just lean it up against something. So I just wanted to have that option. So I went out and I spray painted with Rust-Oleum chalk paint in white. And I just gave it a decent amount to cover everything. And once that was dry, which did not take very long to dry at all. So here it is, as you can see, it's all painted. I only did the one side. I brought it in now. At this time, I thought I was going to sand off the distressing, because on that snowflake, it was distressed. It had like parts that were kind of sanded off, but this was not working for me. So I decided to use warm beige acrylic paint and dry brush it on all the edges or wherever I felt like it needed to be brushed on. So I tried two different brushes. The first one did not work the way I wanted it, so I ended up getting this other brush that was more flat and kind of fanned out, and that worked much better. I don't think the warm beige was showing very well on the camera. Even here you can see it a little bit, but not as much as I would have liked it. But I think it gave the snowflake some dimension, and I love the way it turned out. So simple. This next DIY is probably one of my favorites besides another one of my favorites besides the bells. And we've all seen these Christmas trees. This particular one I saw at Kirkland's, and they are for about 16-inch one. They are about around $40 US. I know the Pottery Barn has their own version. I think even Bed Bath and Beyond, if you have a store like that. We don't anymore. Has one for around $40 as well. I picked this up for, I think it was $3 or $4 at Dollarama, and I ended up painting it with that warm beige and cinnamon bun acrylic paint. I mixed those two together, and then the second coat I did add some baking soda to it, just to add a little bit of texture to it. So once it was dry, I did want to remove that price tag off of it. So like I said, this came from Dollarama, and it was $3, not $4. So I don't know if you can see on camera very well, but there is a ton of texture from that baking soda. Now I'm going to take my hot glue gun and add design. You can use puffy paint if you have some. I did not have any, so I just use my glue gun, and it kind of created the same look. I did this several years back, and I made gingerbread houses using the same technique, so I figured I could use it again. You just have to make sure that you don't have any of those stringy flyaways that the hot glue gun causes. So I tried to follow the same pattern as it was on the dupe, the piece that I was duping. And then I went in, once the hot glue gun has dried, Once the hot glue has dried, I went in with Old Ochre from Annie Sloan. It's chalk paint, and I just went over it, and here I am trying to remove those little stringy things. So I just went over all of the glue, and then I'm going to go in with a different paintbrush, and just fill in so it looks like there's a fallen snow on it. Just thicken up in certain areas. I also covered the little dots with the paint as well, because that's what the picture was showing. It almost seemed like there was maybe some shimmer to it as well. I did not add any shimmer to mine because I'm not the shimmer kind of person, but you totally could add a little bit of glitter while the paint's wet and just sprinkle some on it. I think that would work quite well as well. So this was fairly easy to make, and I think this was very close to the piece that was at the store. And like I said, mine cost me $3 plus tax, and that one was $40. What do you guys think? Did I do a pretty good job in duping this piece? Well, I hope you guys enjoyed these DIYs. If you did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you get notified when new videos pop up. So until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you all so much for watching. The first one that I'm working on came from Value Village, and a friend actually dropped it off. She picked it up, thought of me when she saw it, and knew I could do something with it to make it look a little bit more beautiful. The eyes on this thing were a little bit freaking me out, so I did remove them, as well as this pom-pom that was stuck on here forever. I could not get this off whatsoever. It struggled for a bit. I used a butter knife to try and get it off, but I was afraid I was gonna like cut my finger with the butter knife. But these shears seem to work a little bit better. They're like the metal cutting shears, but I more or less use them as a just to grab on to the pom-pom. So I wanted to say thank you so much for pressing play and watching this video. If you are stopping by for the very first time, my name is Sonja, and over in this channel I share lots of different types of DIYs, seasonal as well as home makeover DIYs, furniture makeovers, and just DIYs in general. So if this is something that interests you, make sure you hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you get notified when the new videos pop up. So once I removed it, I took a sanding block and just sanded the little bit of glue that was left on it. I do feel that I need to get a new sanding block because the sanding part on it was almost worn out. I did have to use a little bit of a craft knife just to scrape some of it off. Now I was going to dilute my Annie Sloan chalk paint and use it as a stain, but then I remembered that I did purchase this chalk paint at Dollar Tree and remembered how watery it was. So that is what I used, and I just poured directly on it for the first part, spread it out, and then I took a rag and just rubbed it off. And I repeated this process several times. I wanted to make sure that all the areas were not evenly covered up, but nicely covered up. I love doing this type of staining. It just gives it a bit of a different look, I guess, than actually using a stain. Similar look, but there is a bit of a difference. So I did this to the whole deer. It was nice that I could take it apart and do this. It would have been a little bit harder if I was all put together and glued together, because then I wouldn't be able to get into all the crevices. This is messy, so be prepared to get your hands dirty or wear gloves if you don't like to get your hands dirty. I don't love wearing gloves. I wish I did, because I'm always have black nails from paint or whatever paint I'm using that's on my nails, and sometimes it's harder to take off. but I just don't love the way the nails feel. So I just, like I said, kept doing this until I reached the desired look I was going for. So here it is, the whole piece painted or stained, and now I wanted to give him a little bit of decoration around his neck. So I had a piece of jute rope that I tied around like a nautical rope, and then I dug through my Christmas stash and found a little greenery and berry and pinecone decoration that this actually came off of my old wreath, as well as a little jingle bell that I was going to tie around it with just a piece of twine. I think this just gave him a little bit of decoration because he was very, very simple, but I kind of like how simple he looked. Did not love the eyes, so glad I removed those. And I didn't love the red pom-pom for a nose. I think the deer was cute at one point, but we wanted to give him a bit of a more sophisticated look. I think he's going to look really good on my front porch. So once I tied this up, I did add a little bit of glue just to hold everything in place. For my next DIY, I picked up these bells. Now, to me, these bells looked fairly new. I have not seen them around here anywhere, but I've seen them online at Walmart, so I'm not sure whether that's where these guys came from. And I just wanted to give them a little bit of a gold color, since that was all the bells in my house were kind of a goldish color. So I tried painting them just with the paint, acrylic paint, and I use spun gold for this. But I did find that the coverage wasn't quite what I was hoping for. So I put one coat of this, just a light coat of just paint on its own, and then for the second coat, once they had time to dry, I added a little bit of baking soda to my paint and painted them with that gave it a little bit of texture, but I was still leaving some of that dark bronze to kind of look poke through in certain areas. So for the other two, I just went directly with a thicker paint. I just felt that worked a little bit better, and there wasn't need to do two coats. Once they were dry, to add them to my banister, I just used some twine and tied it up. For my next DIY, I'm using these little hooks because I'm going to be attaching them to these things, and this is a foot I assume it's a furniture foot. It was an odd piece at a thrift store, so I decided to turn it into an ornament, kind of like a finial ornament. I love these. I've seen them at Walmart. I think my Texas house has maybe a little bit bigger ones, but or my Texas home. I really like this. You could also use spindles. If you have spindles on hand, you can sand them down or paint them and hang them up. Use them as ornaments as well. I think that would work out well too. So I really liked the natural color, so I did not touch it. You could obviously stain it, paint it, or do whatever you want. Because my front tree in my house, and if you had missed my home tour or any of my decorating videos over on my home channel, make sure you check them out. The link to my home channel is in the description box. But I liked using I like the fact that it was natural wood, because that's the kind of the direction that I want that tree at the front to go, a more of a rustic natural look. So I've been slowly switching out ornaments on there. It's a 9-foot tree, so it is a pretty expensive thing to do, to switch out all the ornaments. So I've been doing it slowly, making some and things like that. So I think this ornament's gonna look really good there. So there was a hole there, so I put through the rope. Originally I was thinking of using the S-hook, but I've decided this might be a little bit of an easier way. So I put a little bit of glue into the hole, and then I made a loop, tied a loop with a rope, and then I pushed the one end of the loop in there, and then I glued it, and then I put some wood glue, threaded it through the little dowel on top, or whatever that's called, and then I put a little bit more hot glue just to hold it in place while the wood glue takes time to cure. You don't want to obviously hang this up right away. You want to let it sit and wait, and that's it. I love the way this turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed, and I'll see you all in my next video. Thanks for watching.